Hello, everybody. So I am here with John Granger, sales manager with Nuvo Construction. It's been a hot minute since I've done a video, so I'm going to do my quick little disclaimers. I do have the two employees of the month here at the home office, so if they start barking, I apologize. Any information that we talk about, of course, is for this time and is subject to change. So as we know in this industry, our policies change, it seems like on a daily basis, and it keeps me on my toes. So anyways, let's get on with it. John, thank you for coming on. I'm really excited to have you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. I'm happy to talk about everything. And I also have an office employee or two here. So if they start barking, forgive me on that one.
Perfect. No, gotta love the employees of the month, right?
Yep, that's right.
Awesome. So Nuvo Construction is a contracting company. You do renovations, you're doing new builds, you're doing commercial. What am I forgetting? I feel like I'm forgetting something.
Okay, so we are a general contractor. Just for clarity's sake, general contractors are a little bit different, right? We manage everything start to finish. Okay, we hold permits, sit on inspections, and manage trades, design selection so that we're a one point of contact for the client, right? Try and make things a little easier. And we do everything from bathrooms to kitchens to basements to additions to garage and garden suites to custom homes, full home rentals, commercial new builds, depending on scale on that one, tenant improvements, medical offices. Basically, we got our fingers in everything.
You do it all, basically. That's
Pretty
easy
close.
to say
Pretty
it.
close. Yeah.
Awesome. And so the reason why I asked you to come do a video is because, well, number one, I was very impressed with you guys when I met with everybody. And the values just seem to kind of line up where, we're doing what's in the best interest of our clients. And that's a very important thing to me. And so it's a big trust thing for me. If I'm recommending you to my clients, I'm trusting you. So those values really need to align. But the other reason why is because, as you probably know, and everybody that's out there that's trying to buy a home right now knows, it's a hot market. And so it's really tough
Yep.
in there. And to find that home, the houses that are going on the market right now, they're going pending typically if they're priced right the next day or the day after that. So with the program that we have, and anybody that's watching, you can look back into my videos and see the video that I've done on the Purchase Plus Improvements product. So what this product is it's a product where maybe it's not the home that you found isn't up to date and where you wanted it to be, but it's got really, really good bones. So you've got the ability to go in there and do the renovations and make it your dream home. But it's been sitting on the market for a little bit longer because people are afraid to do that work. That's where you guys come in, right?
Yep. That is exactly where we come in. So we can come in and just for everybody's knowledge that pricing doesn't always have to be a long process. We can step in once we talk with clients, once we're introduced, and we can usually turn them around a preliminary budget within a couple of days. Sometimes if it's a basement development, a standard basement development, we can always, well, not always, but sometimes have pricing back same day based on information provided, and we can help walk them through that process. And as far as you go, right, we can work back and forth if we need a little bit of budget adjustments as well to make things work for them, right?
That's awesome. So yeah, so when it comes to the Purchase Plus Improvements, it's really timeline, like there's a heavier timeline on it, because before I can even submit to the lender, I need to have those quotes in place for the renovations that need to be done. So can you tell me a little bit about the process on your quoting system, like how you quote out? Because I think that's one of the things that I was like, this is awesome.
Okay, so how we do this process is because of my position, I have the ability to be very flexible with appointments because let's face it, realtors taking clients out to look at a house, sometimes you need those appointments same day or next day, right? That's
Yeah.
a big deal in the whole process. You can't start the process, you can't do anything. So that's one thing where we have an advantage. And the next thing is we've structured our pricing so it's a little bit more thorough. There's a couple more steps to it, but it allows us to get where we're going quickly, right? We start off with what we call our Class C budget, which is an introductory budget, right? I usually sit down with my estimator for about 15, 20 minutes, and we can get a pretty good idea of scope. I can have that pricing back within usually the longest, like 2 days.
That's
Right?
awesome.
And that's to the client, and that's typically within about 15%. On a standard basement, we're sometimes within 5%,
Oh,
right?
wow.
Depending on the information that we've had. And that's just that introductory pricing. The next step after that, if we were to proceed, if the client is happy and that's within their budget range, within their mortgage range, their purchase plus, is we would go to a Class B budget. And then we would sit down, usually we're about 10 days, 10 to 12 business days to turn that around. And that's where we actually dive into the budget. We detail things out for them so they'll have a detailed quote, right? Explaining everything that's included, full scope, and then anything that's not included, any options that we may offer that we think would be beneficial, add value to their home renovation. And then if they're happy with that, then what we can do is we go to the actual proposal from there, the actual contract. So it does take a little bit of time, but we're able to get you some introductory pricing that's darn close, and then we can proceed and refine that scope of work for the clients.
That's awesome. Yeah, and when I was introduced to your quoting system, like how you guys did that, that was one of the things that I was very impressed with because I mean, I'm all about timelines, right? I have to meet those timelines. And if we're going to remove conditions, like that's where this program can kind of stall, is because we need to get the quotes in before submission. Well, we're lucky if we're getting 7 business days for condition removals right now. So that's where it's having this partnership where you can really talk with somebody and say, okay, this is my timeline, this is what I need. And then your expertise in knowing what the project is looking like and having your quoting system down, that's where we can shave that time off and really work for the client. So
Well, that's probably the number one reason why we did it is anybody who's been in business or worked with contractors knows that it takes time to produce a quality estimate, right? And over the years, we've had it so that we recognize that we found a way to refine it and still be very close to what is actually going to be the final numbers on the contract. But yeah, it definitely helps your end of things. It helps our end of things. And I'm sure it helps the client.
oh, 100%. Because again, with how hot this market is right now, it gives you options and it makes, I find that it helps the clients just feel a little bit more in control of the home that they're purchasing. So yeah.
Yeah. And one of the other things that we throw in there is we make sure the client's educated, informed, and updated throughout the process, so that they understand what they're going to be receiving, why they're getting the pricing that they're getting, and how that's going to deliver and when we're going to deliver that. So I find that that's something that kind of lacks for clients, is they feel a little bit in the dark, right? So education is power, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. That's awesome. Do you have anything else? Because I know we're on, I don't want to take up too much of your time. Do you have anything else that you wanted to talk about, that you wanted to let people know about the process of working with you guys? Is there anything that we've missed?
I don't think so, really. I think it's pretty straightforward. The sooner that they can engage us in the project and get us involved, the quicker that turnaround will be. If they call us at the 11th hour, it's not going to be as smooth of a process it's going to be probably a little bit rough, in all honesty, because we're trying to make it happen for them. So when you're speaking with your clients, you have realtors that are meeting with clients. The sooner that they can engage us in this, we can even do it off a video walkthrough and pictures. For the most part, right? We can get you a pretty close approximation on that.
Yeah.
So that would be the one thing I would suggest. And if they have questions, by all means, they can, you can put my number in here. They can reach out, they can ask, they can also phone the head office, and they can book a 15-minute call with me. And then they can just ask some questions. I can kind of guide them in the right direction, and at least we get them going in the right direction.
That's awesome. How long are you finding, I just didn't remembered one other question. How long are you finding permitting is taking if permits are needed? I've heard there's been a little bit of a delay lately.
Yeah, so one of the things that clients need to keep in mind is that for a standard basement development, for them, not a basement suite, like a legal suite, a normal basement development, we typically get permits turned around in a day, just because we do so many of them. The city sees the drawings, yeah, and off they go. We know what they need. They know where we're coming from, and it's a quick process. We also do have quick starts, usually 2 a month. We can start a process in a very quick fashion in comparison, right? And then other permits, let's say additions, we're modifying structural walls, we're adjusting the exterior of the building, something like that. We're probably looking, budget-wise, roughly around 2 months to get permits right now, which it feels like a long time, but that's the municipality. It's one of those things. The city of Edmonton is bad for that. It's just the backlog of things. And then the surrounding communities such as Sherwood Park, St. Albert, Fort Saskatchewan, Leduc, Spruce Grove, Stony Plain, they're all actually quite a bit faster. They're wonderful, wonderful municipalities to work for. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're planning your projects.
Good to know. And that's where the communication between all partners is so important, because then if your project is delayed, then I need to let the lender know, because typically we only have those 90 days to complete a project, but that's going to be the time that it takes to get the permit in some cases, right? So it's just that communication with the lender. They obviously know if it's a bigger scope project, we're going to take a little bit more time. But again, like I keep saying, communication, communication, communication. So.
Yeah. And that's one thing that we can provide back and forth for you is, and the clients is, they don't have to play middleman. They can put you in touch with us, and then we can have that communication. They just get filled in on the emails, and it's not up to them to do the legwork. That's on us. So that's easy peasy.
And that's exactly how I work with my clients too, which is why I thought this, we'd work well together. So that's awesome. Awesome.
Very good.
Anything else that you want to mention, or do you think we've covered everything?
I think one thing that we should all put out to the clients, just so new homeowners, people that are buying new homes and, have never done renovations before, just the reality of where people are at in quality contractors, especially to work with people such as yourselves, right? A, check references. B, if they can start next week, you need to ask them questions, because they're obviously not that busy and there's got to be a reason why. So whoever it is that you choose to go with, do your background checks, get some referrals, get some references, and usual turnaround to start time is a safe bet to say is if someone says they're a month out or a month and a half out, that means that they're doing the proper processes for your project, and that they're going to be thorough. They're going to actually take care and do the project that you want them to do. So do your research on your contractors. Us ourselves, we usually book probably a month to 2 months out, just again, permits and everything, right?
Yeah.
So it's something to keep in mind. It's a big thing, because we do get asked that, hey, could you start in a couple of weeks? It can't happen, right? There's no physical way that we could do all of the things that are needed to do the project properly, right?
Well, and that's a really good reminder for somebody like me who is admittedly, like I am one of the most impatient people in the world. So when it comes to quality, if you want the work done right, you need to be patient. So Lisa, be patient. I'm terrible for that. And I mean, it's a big
Yeah.
investment. So you want to be working with the right partners who are going to treat your investment the way you want them to.
Well, I mean, if I can add to that, so people don't think that they're just sitting there waiting for us. During that 2 months of lead time up to the project actually starting at their home, they're engaged in design, selection, going out to meet with reps and all of that. So they're engaged. The project is beginning, but the work on the site, the work site, hasn't actually begun. So I guess the impatience thing would be good. We could give you some homework to do or something like that.
Okay, I can deal with that.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Awesome. Great. Well, this has been really good. If anybody that is watching the video has any questions, I'll make sure to have John's information uploaded as well. And feel free to reach out to them. They're a great company to work with. I've been really, like I said, I've been really impressed speaking with everybody that I've spoken with in the company. So I wouldn't have you on otherwise. And I thank you so much for your time.
Well, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me, and we'll talk again soon.
You bet.